Hello there, and welcome to SerAaron and Friends podcast. I'm your host, SerAaron, also known as William, and these are my two friends, Degeneration, also known as Dave, and Dr. Sphinctanium, also known as Brian.
Hello. Hello there.
So this is our podcast where we're
Hey look, someone's playing Starbound.
What? Oh yeah.
Somebody just popped up playing Starbound. Professional recording.
We should play that game.
Right, so in the background here you can see that I am playing Dishonored. This isn't live. This is just the first mission in the game. This is just gonna be playing in the background whilst we talk about various things.
You killed the illusion now.
Is this going to have the voice acting in the video?
What do you mean?
As in, are you going to... Sounds from the game.
I might put the audio in, or I might, dub the soundtrack over the top or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. So, in this game, you've got, a bunch of powers, and that's one of them that I'm using now, where you can, look through walls and see where people are. That's the only time I use that ability, because it's fucking useless.
What, the wall thing?
The one that I'm using right now, where it's everybody turns yellow.
I used it once or twice when I thought I was about to get gang raped by them, but it's quite scary, especially when you're in first person. I'm very used to games like Splinter Cell, but it's third person, so as soon as you do stealth with just you and a camera, it's freaky.
Yeah, I really like it though. I got into this game a lot more than I thought I was gonna. I went into this game a little bit sort of yeah, whatever, this is probably shit. And then it actually surprised me. It feels a lot like, what's it called? Bioshock, only I actually enjoyed it. I just killed an innocent person.
Yeah, I don't know where you put that person.
Smooth moves.
Yeah, it felt like Bioshock, only more enjoyable. I didn't like Bioshock very much.
Yeah, I've never really played it. I played System Shock 2, which is awesome and terrifying. The first person thing definitely makes you wet your pants. So what's going on here?
So this mission is basically I've been hired by, or not really hired, just I was in prison and then some dudes helped me escape, and then they were
Damn. Oh! He was kicking ass.
Yeah.
Why are you shoving the leg?
Yeah, just shoot him in the leg, stab him in the head. This game's combat system is really diverse. I really like it.
It's odd. As soon as I get into combat, I freak out, and I'm using the controller, which might have been...
Right, yeah, I use keyboard and mouse for all first-person games.
For some reason, I couldn't get the blocking to work. But I did like how you start and those two are throwing bodies off the edge.
Yeah.
It kind of gives you a...
disgusting.
Oh, yeah, so you got this
Place
heart
to
thing that, shows you where collectibles
This
are.
took me about 5 minutes.
What do you mean,
Realised
getting
that
under
you
there?
can't do that.
I just went around.
Yeah, you just go around.
Yeah.
I jumped into the sea and said, maybe I can swim around. No, there's a pipe there.
That's pretty clever, though.
Yeah, there's
in games like Half-Life, there's tons of situations like that where you try and jump on the pipe just to kind of glitch your way through, but for it to actually be the way around.
Yeah. There's... Well, this is what I mean, I keep wanting to say Fallout. I mean Bioshock. Bioshock has a lot of, exploration stuff, but there's no incentive. You can explore and pick up ammo and stuff, but there's literally no point because of the Vita chambers. And because, there's nothing that makes you as a character, want to actually spend any longer in Rapture than is, necessary. Because, you just crash in an airplane and then go to this crazy city where everybody's trying to murder you. Your character motivations in that game don't make any sense, but in this, it does, and, you're, military trained, so you actually feel like a powerful character, as opposed to just some dude.
Also, in this, when it's talking about pathways, at any point, Will could have just forgotten about the guards and just taken a pipe to get that stuff and left them alone. And
Yeah.
Nothing would have changed, which I
You could
really
have
like.
saved lives and families.
I think I like. In the last sort of half hour of this game, like I basically like go and look in every room that I missed and kill everybody. Like I don't leave a single person alive in this city.
I started using the sleeping darts, and after a while I ran out and thought I might as well just stab everybody. That's the best way to get through.
Yeah.
But, the part I'll probably point out when you're there's one part where I didn't kill a single person.
Yeah.
Just using blinking around the pipes and the roofs and stuff.
Yeah, it's weird. Like as this progresses, like I start using things that I wasn't using very much at the start. Like I thought, like when I first got the teleport ability, which you've seen me used a couple times, I was like, this is really dumb. I don't know how this is going to help me. By the end of this video, I'm teleporting everywhere all the time, and just using it to like get behind people and insta kill them. And then sort of at the start here, I picked up some sleep darts, and I was like, when the fuck am I going to use sleep darts? And then there's that guy that you need to like not kill, but who will fight you because you're an enemy to him.
Yeah,
and I was like,
also,
I should sleep dart him.
Later on, there are guys with masks that you can't headshot, and so it's better just to shoot them in the body with a sleep dart.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they get alerted. Look at those rats.
Oh yeah, I think I blow these up. Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
If you attack one, they usually swarm you.
Yeah, the rats in this game are an enemy of their own. Like they'll just eat dead bodies and stuff, and if you go too near a big swarm, then they'll try and eat you whilst you're alive. And they actually do more damage than most of the human enemies in this game, which is a little bit weird. So I'm more scared of rats in this game than I am of like men with guns.
Is it set around London during the plague times?
It's set in its own world. Like it's this sort of steampunk-esque Victorian London era. Only, I think like my main complaint is that despite the setting, everyone has American accents.
Oh
Yeah.
God. There's nothing I can't stand more than that. There's like, there's a Robin Hood film where everyone is English apart from Robin Hood.
Yeah, I know that one.
That's treason, that is.
I can't remember what I'm doing. Oh yeah, I'm looking for one of the collectibles.
You did what I did. You fell in the water and started swimming your way.
Golden hair.
There's something else I was going to say about this. I guess I found it a little bit easy. I think if I play it again, I don't know if I'm gonna play it again or not. Like
Just mounting that rock.
Because it's just hard to find time to play games for extended periods of time at the moment. But if I do play it again, I'm definitely going to turn the difficulty up, because I was playing on normal and I was just one-shotting people, and it was getting kind of boring towards the end of this mission.
Well, with modern games, it's always best to start on hard.
Yeah.
Because if it's too hard at the
I
start...
keep forgetting, though.
Yeah.
Like, I played like Skyrim on like normal difficulty or whatever, and within like 2 hours I was like, I need to play this on the hardest difficulty. And then within like 5 hours I was like, I need to find a mod that makes this harder.
Games like that where you're doing the same things over and over again, especially with the enemies, you want to kind of draw it out a bit. Like battles in that game, a lot of the time you can just swing your sword a couple of times, just flail it in front of you, and they'll fall down. I love this feature. I love the little keyhole.
The keyhole feature, yeah, it's really cool.
Just a little thing with looking through a keyhole.
Why are you breaking into Granny's house?
I think I'm looking for this bone charm or whatever it's called.
Unsuccessfully going down to the second floor and leaving through the back door.
Yeah.
Is the heart talking to you?
Oh yeah. The heart has a voice. Okay.
What?
My theory with this heart is it's a whale's heart. Because it,
And that means it can speak how?
Just like, where are you
I'm
going?
not really sure, but some of the things it says makes me feel like it was like a whale that was hunted and is sad because it keeps like spewing sad like sea poetry at me.
But like, it's a woman's voice.
Yeah.
And it like gives you sort of exposition about the place you're in.
Yeah.
When you're in the brewery, it'll talk about what is produced there.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I don't know. Then again, it might be a human heart because it's like, I remember coming for a drink here once or whatever. It's like, wait a minute, if you're a whale, that doesn't work. So I don't really know what the heart is exactly, but it helps you find collectibles, which is handy. I don't know if it really counts as like cheating because it's like having an in-game walkthrough.
Is it?
It gives you a incentive to actually stay around
like
and look for
when
things.
you've got the heart up, all those icons pop up on the screen that tell you where the collectibles are and how far away they are. And the runes will give you upgrades so you can become more powerful, like more health or faster spell casting and stuff. Anyway, shall we? Well, that's what I've been playing this week.
Yep.
What?
You're doing a fine job of it.
I will continue to do a fine job of it for another hour and 20-something minutes. I've also...
So what have we been playing?
Yeah, so what have you guys been playing?
Well, who wants to go first?
You.
Me.
You want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's just see, have I actually written notes of a game? No, I actually haven't. I've got notes about other shit.
What game have you been playing?
It is The Banner Saga, which is an indie game
I've heard
on
of that,
Steam.
yeah.
Yeah, it was made by some people... What game did they make? God damn it. I knew it.
I'm looking
I
it
knew
up on Steam.
Tip of my tongue. It's some people from BioWare, I think.
Right.
So they kind of broke off and they made this strategic, very story-heavy game that has a ton of choices in true BioWare style, and some of them are really, really heavy. Like, you have to choose between one person living or one person dying, and they're characters that you've taken with you the whole journey. Or you have to choose between giving supplies away, which could mean that all of your clansmen and your fighters die. It's heartbreaking. I don't know how I do it.
Oh, man. This looks awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely beautifully animated. Amazingly written.
This looks like Final
free-to-play
Fantasy Tactics.
version of it, which is just the battle system.
I fucking love Final Fantasy Tactics.
It feels a lot like Fire Emblem as well.
Yeah, it's very slow-paced because it's not as much about tons of abilities. You have kind of a handful of AoE abilities.
Yeah.
But like the combat seems really focused on wearing your opponent down rather than just killing them outright.
Yeah. He's very kind of fine-tuned and in-depth and very hard in parts as well.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of in reviews that it's actually quite bitterly hard in parts.
Yeah.
Does it have permadeath?
It says that it does, but I figure it only has that in certain story moments, because I've had characters die, but they haven't died when they've been beaten in battle. It's always through a choice that I make that will cause someone to get backstabbed or whatever.
Right. Have you ever had anybody die in a battle?
I've had someone almost die in a battle, but it was kind of it was a special battle. It wasn't like a normal generic encounter.
Right.
Which reminds me, it does have little encounters where you'll come across raiders or whatever, but it also has big army things, because you have clansmen following you, you have fighters following you, and you have Val, which are like big giant fighters. And sometimes you'll come across armies of what they call dredge. So it will say, there's 900 dredge, you have 951 units, your guys are going to kick their asses. What do you want to
yeah.
do? And it will give you these little options, like you can survey the battle and make your troops do well. Never tried that, because the other ones seem better. You can charge them, which means you go into a battle with your heroes, but you fight more of the dredge.
Right.
So a lot less of your fighters die. Or I think it's called formation, which is what I normally do, where you go into battle, there's less dredge fighting you, so they fight more of your guys, but it's not as bad as just sitting behind the lines and just watching them die.
So is it turn-based or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so many skills in it. Every single hero has a unique skill.
Right.
And one of them can change the initiative, which will make one of your other characters fight quicker in battle. One of them, this guy called Rook, who's one of the main characters, his power is awesome because he basically stabs a unit, gets rid of their armor, because they have armor and strength, and then when he does that, any nearby units will attack him. So, provided you do that correctly, you could just kill anything in one shot. But yes, it is a damn good game.
It's like
It looks really cool.
it's been called kind of a mix between Oregon Trail set in Skyrim,
Yeah.
which is kind of a good way to describe it, because you're constantly on this journey and you're gonna lose people.
Yeah, and it is devastating because at the moment in my save, I've run out of supplies. I've had some major characters die. We're running from this army, and every day that passes when you don't have supplies, your men die. So it just walks along, the little day counter ticks.
Yeah.
This many people died, another counter ticks, this many people died. You found a village. Would you like to explore it? Yes, there might be supplies. Oh no, there's tons of bandits. Lots more of your guys have died and they stole your supplies. Wait, you don't have any.
Yeah, that sounds a lot like Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
It,
But I've only been
Yeah.
playing it in 1 hour stints so far.
Has anyone died of dysentery yet?
Unfortunately not.
We picked him up as the alarms just fell around.
yeah, I blew a guy up with a grenade and just like picked his torso up.
Oh, I'm not actually watching what's going on.
I've got it on the monitor. I just glimpsed that.
Yeah, besides that, I've been playing Planetscape Torment, which is
Oh,
an
right.
awesome game.
I
Have you heard about it?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never played it, but it's like it's one of those games from the same era as the Baldur's Gate and
Yeah.
Icewind Dale, and it's the same. I think it's made by the same people, isn't it? Black Isle.
It runs on the same engine.
Yeah, the Infinity Engine.
The way I view it is it's like Baldur's Gate with more interesting lore, and some people are going to hate this opinion, but the Baldur's Gate story sucks.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's poorly written. The characters are two-dimensional. The lore is meh.
Yeah.
But Planetscape Torment, when you wake up, you're genuinely, instantly interested. You're like, what the hell's going on? Who are these creatures? Because it kind of uses similar
it-
lore. But
is it sci-fi?
in a way, it's kind of Fallout-esque,
Right.
but with fancy aspects. And you still get some of the races, like you'll get tieflings, which are the half-demon creatures.
Yeah.
I've seen tons of really weird creatures like centaurs and stuff, because
Cool.
the main town is basically this hub for all of these different dimensions that creatures will come through. So there's like countless different creatures, and the dimensions can be anything from inhabitable to really messed up dark places. Because you go into this bar called the Smouldering Corpse Bar, and there's this floating burning corpse. So you're like, oh, that's weird. Who the hell is that guy?
Oh, that's odd.
You find out that he was a fire mage who went against some sort of mage movement. So what they did was they opened up a plane, like a door to this fire dimension. So he's basically constantly having flames just erupt from his body. So he's basically just this massive fireball, which I think is really cool.
Yeah,
and
that
apparently
sounds
he's a
really
player
cool.
character,
Really?
which is cool as hell. Beats a bloody tiefling with an American voice like in Neverwinter Nights.
Yeah, I never liked Neverwinter Nights, and I could never complete Baldur's Gate, like I would always, I never played Baldur's Gate 1, I played Baldur's Gate 2, and I could never complete it. I would always skip ahead to the 5th chapter that you can like play even if you haven't played the whole game, and like all your characters start at like level 23 or something ridiculous, and you get shit tons of gold and money and equipment.
I actually prefer Baldur's Gate 1 from what I've played.
Yeah, I never played Baldur's Gate 1. I played Icewind Dale and Icewind Dale 2. They were my PC games of my childhood, along with Diablo 2.
I'm playing Icewind Dale 1 with my brother at the moment, and it does feel better than Baldur's Gate, because Baldur's Gate is too story heavy. You go into something and you'll come across an NPC who will chat shit for ages. Christ, half the dialogue could just be cut down. So instead of saying, hello, I'm a peasant, I work on a farm, they say, hello, I'm a peasant, I've been working on this farm for like 5,000 years. We've had lots of orcs come here. I don't like it. The orcs have been coming here because I make really nice cheese. Now, to make the cheese, you know. That's basically the whole game.
Your main character just looking incredibly intensely like focused, like nodding his head, just like, okay, go on.
Fascinating, brilliant. Tell me more, please. Because there's no option to say shut up.
Classic RPG speak is like, tell me more about your cheese making. Tell me more about your farm. Tell me more about this orc invasion. Yeah, like that's what I think bothered me about Baldur's Gate 2, is like you're just one character and then you get to pick from like 20 NPCs that just join your party because you're like, hey, come with me. Whereas Icewind Dale is you're just like a group of 5 or 6 people who happen to be in Icewind Dale when shit goes down, and it's like, well, fuck it, we're in it for the adventure now.
Yeah.
Like, Icewind Dale feels like an adventure, whereas Baldur's Gate feels like a quest. And, like, they're not necessarily synonymous.
But one of the things I do really like about Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale is the character creation.
Oh, I love,
because you normally come up with a concept and then you're like, I want to be like this crazy drow who likes smelling ladies' underwear. So I'm going to go ahead and make that. Or like, I'm going to be this halfling who everyone laughed at, so he decided to become a mage that could just kill everyone.
Yeah, because you can write your bios.
Yeah.
Like, it gives you like a spreadsheet to write all your character bios on and stuff. Like, I think like 50% of the time I spent playing Icewind Dale, I spent making characters.
It feels like
fun.
it needs like a dungeon delving thing where there's no story and it's all randomly generated, so you can just constantly make new parties.
Yeah.
And then just really enjoy the game instead of doing the start all over again.
Make a party and basically see how far they go, and then when they die, you keep their like biographies as like a sort of memoir of all the parties that went down inside that dungeon.
Yeah,
that would be cool. Yeah, like
really good.
This actually reminds me of Project Infinity, which I kickstarted.
What is that?
It's the guys that made Icewind Dale and Baldur's Gate and Planetscape Torment.
Kill the main.
And they were like, we still have the Infinity engine. We're just gonna kickstart another like a new like IP using the engine. It looks awesome.
Yeah,
they've been working on it for about a year and a bit now, and they haven't even released alpha yet, and it looks fucking gorgeous. Like this is. I actually want to say something about Kickstarter, because I've kickstarted 2 things. I've kickstarted Project Infinity for £50 and Planetary Annihilation for £50.
Yeah,
and
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, but I was super hyped for a new Total Annihilation game and super hyped for a new game on the Infinity engine. But the difference between those 2 companies is that I don't like what they're doing with Planetary Annihilation. Like, they're just like, they brought the alpha out within less than 6 months of the Kickstarter being over, and then they brought the beta out like 3 months later, and it's a broken piece of shit.
Really?
And now they're like, now it's on like Steam. It's an unfinished game that's on Steam and that they're selling for like £40.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the problem with Kickstarter because this is going to sound very ignorant if I'm wrong, but they don't have. Then the games aren't
once they've
under
got
as
your
big
money,
a scrutiny.
They have no obligation to finish
Yeah,
it, really.
They're not
Yeah.
under the same scrutiny a game would if there was a company saying that's a piece of shit. We're not going to release it.
Yeah.
Because Shadowrun Returns, for example, I'm not saying it's a piece of shit.
Wasn't
Content-wise,
perfect.
yeah, content-wise, it's very, very empty. Because
Yeah.
I completed the campaign in a couple of hours. After you do that, all you can do is play user-made campaigns, and they're all really kind of crap.
I
it
got
wasn't
bored
really
of it.
worth
Like,
money.
I stopped playing about halfway through the campaign. Well, I thought I'd got to the end, and then I was like, oh, this isn't the end. And then I was like, fuck it. I'm bored.
I think for that
I
one,
never
though,
thought I
is,
got to the end. Just ended.
It wasn't full price, which I liked.
Yeah.
It was about £13 or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think I spent like 10 quid on it, so I'm not too pissed about that.
And if they made a proper game, it probably wouldn't be out yet.
Yeah. But I'm... The contrast between the Planetary Annihilation guys and the Project Infinity guys is that Project Infinity, like, both companies do a weekly or at least bi-weekly like email to their
Sorry,
closing a
love
toilet
that.
seat. Bi-weekly email to the people that kickstarted them, and like giving updates and stuff. And so I've been following both of them. The difference is, like, they both feel like they're around the same stage of development, but the Project Infinity guys aren't even talking about alpha yet, whereas
Yeah.
the Planetary Annihilation guys are talking about release.
Yeah, with Planetary Annihilation, it kind of feels like what they're doing with Carmageddon, though I haven't kept up with it for a while. But, you know, they're remaking a Carmageddon, and they had some footage of a car just running people over. And the physics were so bad. And the graphics were kind of...
Oh, wait.
It just didn't feel like
Watch this.
Carmageddon.
I think I killed myself here by accident. I was
This
like,
one,
I
but-
could survive that fall.
Yeah.
Oh, William.
Oh, really? You have met your demise.
Who knew? Jumping off buildings kills you.
That's like a 4-story building.
Done all
I
whiskey.
just
Gonna try and do it again.
No, I teleport down instead. Yeah, the teleporting in this game is a little bit broken, I think.
Once you
'Cause-
get used to it, it's good, but sometimes it doesn't let you climb up ledges
Yeah.
like some do.
But I mean, it costs practically no mana. Like, I think I take out about 20 guys later on without running out of mana. And just by teleporting behind every single one and stabbing them in the back of the head.
Ball Street Boys.
This part, I didn't kill anybody.
Oh, right.
And Will's just going to go in and...
I almost
Please don't
died
kill
here
me.
because they've got like fire breathers. And I was like, oh shit, I'm on fire.
Yeah, I basically just climbed up that and just went across the pipes for the whole thing.
Oh, wow. I didn't even see that.
That's using you noodle.
Like, everybody told me, like, you need to be super sneaky in this game. So I was like, I'm just gonna kill everyone and not be super sneaky and see if I can do it.
Crowding around his corpse. Oh, God.
Yeah, I just take these guys
Oh,
on.
Will.
Like,
You didn't die.
I didn't die. I've got like
Those two
10
people
health
lived.
potions
Everyone
at this
lived.
point as well, so
Yeah.
it's kind of ridiculous.
That guy keeps letting go. You hit that guy's burning corpse.
I wanted to make sure he was dead, you know?
Desecration.
Right, so DJ, what have you been
With
playing?
your sword in this.
DJ,
You been playing any games, David?
have you been playing any?
Yes, I have been playing Nidhogg
What?
on Steam.
Ah.
It is very much a stark contrast from what you've been playing. So it has there's no story.
How do you spell it?
Nidhogg.
Mid.
Nidhogg.
Double G.
And it's like an action. Well, I say action, but it's
The
one of those
closest
games
thing I
that-
can think of is it's like the Prince of Persia swordplay.
Yeah.
Um,
When I saw footage of it, it reminded me of. There used to be like a Knights tournament game on the ZX Spectrum or the Commodore 64, and you get like fencing and quarterstaff mini games. So it feels kind of like a sporting game.
yeah, it's fencing, so it's the fencing equivalent of Prince of Persia meets Bushido Blade. So one,
I see. Yeah,
hit
so
will
it's
kill
like a
you.
sort of platformer fighter game.
It's not like there is a single player mode, but there's no like story or added levels. There's 4 areas, and you basically have to get to the right side of the map by beating your opponent like a constant amount of times.
Yeah, I'm watching the trailer.
And it's just like the whole game is a tug of war, trying to get to your side. So you'll stab your person, you'll run to the right a bit, and then he'll come back and stop you. And if you just keep beating him, you'll get to the right. But then if he starts beating you, he'll push back to the left of the map.
Oh wait,
And
so
he's trying to get to the left.
it is kind of like a literal tug of war in the fact that you have to
Yep.
get to the other side.
And
Huh.
it's, despite its simplicity, there's a lot of tactics, movement,
Yeah.
parrying that goes on.
And it's all incredibly fast paced as well.
It's really smooth and fast paced, and it's so much fun just to constantly play it, because some battles you can just throw swords at them, kick them, and then before you know it, you've won. Or other ones, it's just a constant tug of war
Yeah.
that'll go on for like 20 minutes.
So it is kind of like in Bushido Blade, where you can either die in one hit or you can cripple each other and have a 10-minute fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no like crippling anything. Everything can kill you, other than a leg sweep.
So
Everything can kill you in one hit.
So is it like
So-
instant respawn?
Yeah, like
Ah,
there's a
okay.
couple of seconds that lets you run to your side, and then after a couple of seconds, he comes back, blocking you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
Multiplayer?
a user-generated single-player game.
Has it got?
It's like
Online
if
multiplayer?
there were different people constantly in your way, like the Prince of Persia games, but it's not. It's always the same people,
Yeah.
and it's just a geniusly addictive little game.
It
And
has.
I saw a lot of people saying that they didn't like the price of it because it was so short, but it's the perfect price for it.
How much is
A
it?
quality made game.
It's £12, and it has
No,
it has 2-player local multiplayer.
Yeah. Having not played it, that seems like a bit too much.
It was £9.
Yeah.
I bought it for £7 because I got it on Humble Bundle.
Yeah. I'd play it if a
Yeah.
housemate had it, definitely. Or maybe
Yes.
wait for a Steam sale. But it does look like a cool little game.
If it had online multiplayer, I'd play
It
it.
does.
Uh,
does.
It does have online.
What does it?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's
I
also
should
got
better play it.
a bunch of mutators when you play it. So you can have anti-gravity slow motion mode.
Huh.
No sword mode, which is funny because that means all you can do is try and sweep them, break their neck.
That is pretty cool. And I do
It's the
love
only way
games
to
with
kill them.
mutators.
But it's just a really fun, simple game. Because I've gotten into those games now, like indie games that are very simple
Yeah.
but have like a lastability to them.
Hmm.
I've gone off, like, not since you started playing Dishonored and I want to play Dishonored again. A lot of the games, why are you going to kill those rats? What are they doing to you?
Because
bastard.
I
Oh,
need
God.
to go back there to pick up a bone charm.
Attack.
You wasted a grenade on rats.
Yeah. it's the
Sounds stupid now you say it.
it's the best way to dispose of a shit ton of rats. I've found.
If there was like a couple and they're like, oh, we got lots of rats in my sewer. We better call that William guy round. All right, ladies. Got my needs.
brought my nades.
You might hear a loud bang.
Might have your ceiling fall in.
But yeah, something
like rat
that-
corpses.
Something that me and DJ have been playing a little bit is Neverwinter, the MMO version.
Yes.
I've seen you guys playing that, like popping up on my Steam.
That's because it's taken me ages to sort out the graphic settings so they actually show up. But the character creation, just like with Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale, it's very fun. You come up with, I come up with a concept, like I made a drow mage, so I was like, I want this guy to be really cool, really evil. The downside is how limited the class systems are, because there's only a couple, and you can't really make them too different.
Right.
But aesthetically, the character creation is amazing. You can choose from tons of faces, customize them, slide them around, change the skin colour, give him loads of crazy hair, make him look really stupid like some people do with the little emo fringes. But my guy, I gave him awesome tattoos, really wrinkly face, flowing white locks. So it makes you care about the character more when you can actually make them look good and have some sort of background. Because
graphics
when we
look
played
really
Guild
nice.
Wars 2, the humans look so bad. Like pre-PS2 graphics with
Really?
no textures at all. I hate
You're
it.
talking about the Guild Wars ones.
Yeah, Guild Wars 2 humans.
Guild Wars 2 humans don't all look like male models. At least the
Yeah,
male
male
males and
models
females. They look
that
like
have been
models,
airbrushed
and
too
it's
much.
Annoying because you can't make like a sort of burly old gruff person.
Yeah.
They all have to look super clean and
Like,
Yeah.
sort of
good looking.
terror.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
I don't like games like that. I want to make someone look ugly as sin.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I want to make that woman into a character.
How does it play? Oh, you want to make Granny into a character?
Run around hacking at people.
Oh, I sure hate those dark elves.
How does it play in comparison to other MMOs? Because like my biggest problem with every MMO I've ever played has been
There's the shitty animations and the
gameplay.
pressing 1 and the 3 and the 5.
Yeah, the controls and the gameplay have always put me off.
Yeah, the
MMOs.
combat in this is a lot more interesting. The animations are really good. It almost plays like a console game, but not in a bad way.
It plays very much like Dark Souls 2, if you played it. Not Dark Souls 2, whoa. It's not like that at all.
Dark Souls.
Go on.
Dragon Age 2.
Oh, Dragon Age 2, right.
Because in that, it was very simple. You had about 3 abilities that were kind of extensions to your normal abilities.
Yeah.
So instead of slashing your sword, you'd spin around in a circle. And there were simple ones like that, and you kind of, instead of, what I hate about a lot of MMOs and about Elder Scrolls Online, which I'd like to talk about at some point, is I hate games where when you hit them with your weapon, it feels like the animation is just going through them and they're getting damaged by it. So usually it's a looped animation of them hitting them,
Yeah.
when all you've done is press attack them and you're slowly chipping damage. Well, this one, it's you do a big hit, it's a bit of damage, you animation into another hit, another big bit of damage, and then it finishes off with a last bit of animation for a larger amount of damage.
Yeah, and one thing that it does that, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think any other MMO does, is it seems to have some sort of ragdoll physics with certain attacks. Because my mage, after he's charged up enough of his, whatever the hell you call it, weird bar thingy, he gets a really powerful move, which is an AoE thing, which just knocks everyone back. And I've run into crowds, cast that, they all go flying in ragdolls, and whoever dies lands on like a shelf or a table or something. It
I
just
do like
makes
that.
it a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes the sword play a bit better, especially when you hit them. Like my dwarf guy, who had the spinning double sword attack, when he spins at them and attacks them, they fly the way the sword goes, which is cool. Like they'll
Oh, so
Their,
there's
legs
like
will
a sort
buckle and they'll
of, there's
fly
a physics
backwards and
engine on like sword clashing and stuff.
no, there's just the death animation.
Oh, okay. Right. So you can't have like a duel or something.
No, it's still like common MMO fodder, but
Yeah.
And one thing that I
The,
really like about it, which Dave mentioned earlier when we were playing it, was when you fight things, you don't feel like this level 1 crappy guy who's like,
Oh yeah, I could do a stab, or I could buff myself a bit.
because there's a part in the tutorial where
I'm a
as a
level
mage,
1 wizard. I will cast
Taste the lightest fireball.
Irritating poke.
cast fireball at the darkness.
But yeah, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, in the tutorial, there's a part where this big, massive thing, I think they call it the Harbinger or something, cliche or whatever, and he just comes along, and I slowed him down with my crazy ice blast. Then he was like, I'm having none of that, mate. He tried to hit me. I did a really cool dodge, because the dodge system's really cool. And then I just fired some magic missiles, did my blasty thing, he flew away, and he was like, oh, and he had basically no health, and he came back at me, and I just kicked his ass in a really awesome looking way.
Nice.
That's what MMOs need. They need better animations and
Yeah. Just you talking about it then made me think, like, I wouldn't mind seeing an MMO, or at least a large multiplayer game like Dishonored.
yeah, because they've got to
Dishonored's
stop thinking about it.
The best thing about Dishonored is its combat system. Like, it's the best combat system I've seen in any game.
I wouldn't like to see PvP
Well,
on it.
close
but
combat system that I've seen.
It's definitely
like
a game like this with co-op. would be
the
great.
sword fight. Oh, hang on, this is hilarious. I don't know who I'm supposed to be rescuing here, so I just throw a grenade at both of them.
no!
And one of them is
No.
strapped down, and he just looks at him.
Don't worry, I've come to rescue you.
Oh my god!
Sorry. Yeah, the close combat system in Dishonored is really nice. Like the sword physics, the way that you can like wind up dueling with someone and like clash swords and stuff, like that is really cool. I haven't seen that in any other game. Like, well, I've seen it in other games, but I've not seen it done as well as Dishonored. Although I was watching somebody play Chivalry today, and Chivalry kind of did it, but Chivalry's a little bit too excessive at times.
Yeah.
So-
Well, if you want a game with sword mechanics, they should either remake or make a sequel to Die by the Sword, because that game is so fun. Like, it's a game where you use the mouse to control his entire sword arm, and the damage is done through momentum, and you can block with it as well, and it just feels great. Feels like you have complete control over it. To an extent, because it's an old game, it's kind of a little bad.
I think I tried to watch you live stream that once, but the colours were like shit as all hell.
It's one of the first 3D games I ever saw my brothers play on a PC. So old.
Right. So should we? I think we've pretty much covered games for now. Well, games that we've been playing at least. Has anybody got any news topics?
It's not really news topics, but I just wanted to talk about something that I really don't like.
Yeah, well, like
Will. Okay, let's get it out of the way.
I've got a discussion topic, like a thing that we can talk about. I was just wondering if anybody's got any like current news that they want to bring up or talk about or anything.
I'd like to give a shout out to Humble Bundle for being incredibly cheap in a good way.
We love you, man.
Yeah, actually, I just picked up their
Humble Bundle
most
X.
recent one. I don't know which one. The one with Reyes in
X,
it,
yeah.
or Roos, or however you say it.
That was one of the better ones actually. I like
that
one.
had a ton of stuff in it. Strike Suit Zero and a few other games. I think I'm gonna play. I think I'm gonna play Roos next week.
Yeah, I played a couple of minutes of that and it looked really interesting.
It's alright.
It looks like a sort of
Lovely.
2D Civ 5 or something.
It looks like Populous.
Yeah, the
Well,
thing
not
is,
it looks like it feels like Populous.
yeah,
But you're kind of playing as giant golem gods.
it
yeah,
feels
tree
like them,
monkeys.
but it feels like it's missing something in comparison to those games. Because I don't know, the gameplay feels kind of limited.
I think it's because it's 2D. It feels like a board game.
In a way,
Like,
yeah, the
you
gameplay
haven't got an
does.
expansive world to craft. You've got this circle,
Yeah,
and so there are X amount of spaces on that circle that can hold something.
and every choice has a lot of weight behind it. It's not something where you can do something and then just be like, oh crap, didn't mean to do that. You like say you put down a silo or something and it just messes you up for resources or whatever for a while.
Well, I'll be trying it out later in the week, so we can talk about it next week. All right, so
Segue.
what's your topic, Brian?
My topic, early access, because I've been seeing a lot of great games on Steam, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's early access, so you're going to spend a lot of time,
Updating.
running into a lot of bugs, right? Having your saves wiped, in particular Starbound, let's just leave that out there.
Having to update every morning.
Yeah, because the thing that did put me off early access was actually Starbound, because I was waiting for that game for bloody ages. It comes out, early access, awesome. Let's play it. Can't really do much, can you?
I've not seen
is cool.
anything to do with Starbound. It's like Terraria in space, right?
Well, it's kind of... It does a similar thing to... This is a weird comparison, but it does a similar thing to what GTA 5 did with its multiplayer. Because GTA 4's online multiplayer was really fun because it just doesn't give a shit about you. It just puts you there and it's like, do whatever you want. In GTA 5, it's like, you can't do what you want like in single player. You have to grind for hours and hours and hours to rank up, to unlock this stuff, to like unlock a plane or whatever. And this has gone off early access. It's more just me complaining about Starbound. But the way Starbound behaves is you'll look for resources, you'll make something, and then once you've made that thing, you can go to a harder area, get different resources, make other things, and it's just a really slow, boring, monotonous progression. I'd rather you just kind of... all those later resources were just rare on certain planets that you could go to, and it wasn't so linear in its progression. So if it was kind of like Skyrim, where you just walk around and you're like, oh wow, I found this really cool magic thing, or oh wow, I found this really scary place where I get my balls ripped off or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the early access of that where you have that kind of game, which, who knows, they might change it completely. But imagine that type of a linear game, just with a lot less features. And I don't know. I've played it for quite a few hours, and it's really put me off the final thing.
Yeah. I think...
That's one issue of early access, like, just generally, is you can have too much of a game before it's even come out.
Yeah, you get tired. I mean, Minecraft is a weird example because Minecraft is a weird game, but like I had the same thing with Minecraft. Like, but by the time Minecraft actually came out, I was getting pretty bored of it, and I was also getting annoyed at the new updates. Like, one of the things that put me off Minecraft in the end, like among other things, is just there were updates for things that I like didn't feel the need for to be in the game and stuff. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. But they just added stuff that I was like, why the fuck do you need that?
At the moment, that's quite a lot what it feels like they're doing with Starbound, because it feels like there's a lot of core elements that, unfortunately, not playing it right now, I can't quite... they don't quite come to mind. Yeah. But it feels like they're doing a lot of pointless stuff. Like, they'll add something on... I don't know if you class it as like the third tier of crafting or whatever. They'll add something really pointless there, like, oh, you could craft a hat that talks to you and does your hair or whatever, instead of dealing with the kind of the earlier game or like the core mechanics that just feel really empty and boring.
I think, like, in terms of testing the game, it's good to be able to get stuff quickly, but I think when the game comes out, they should take those tiers and just stretch them the hell out. So tier 1 now takes 20 hours
I don't know,
of
because
like constant playing just to get close.
That would put you off making new characters and things, because a lot of the time you can start a game like that and then you just loathe the crap out of your character. I think they should make it so there's a quick but hard way to progress through it, and in case you wanted to just mess around on the first tier for a couple of hours, if they made it actually interesting to do.
Well, Terraria is like that. Like, you can power game Terraria really easily. Like, if you start a new game, you can get to like hard mode after you can get down to hell and fight the wall of flesh within like a few hours if you know what you're doing. Because it's like there's no level system in that game. It's all just equipment based, and skill and like personal skill based. So there's no like level cap or anything.
Yeah, I really did like Terraria when it came out, but
Yeah, me too.
after a while, it just...
I can't play
It's
it
a
anymore
stupid
because
game.
I played it to death. Like, I played it for about, like, well, I think I've got about 30 hours clocked on it, but like 20 of those hours I played pretty much non-stop.
Yeah, damn.
That said, I've clocked over 100 hours on Skyrim and played that game for over 24 hours straight, so...
Oh, speaking of hours played on Skyrim, I was, because I had the urge to play it, but I couldn't find my 360 copy. So I went on the Steam store page and just put it on my wish list so I don't forget. And I looked down at the reviews, and you know it says the hours spent playing it.
Yeah.
It was like, you get the odd one where it's like 20 hours, 30 hours, which in reality is quite a lot of time if you think about it. But some with like 40,000 hours. This game is really good. I'm going to write an essay about it because I spent most of my life doing it.
It's even worse if they just say, yeah, it's pretty good.
This game sucks. 2,000 hours.
The problem that I had with Skyrim is that it just became too easy because it's got a level system and an equipment system in it. And so the better you get, the better you get. Because you're getting more powers and abilities and strength and all that crap, stats. And you're also getting better equipment with better stats. And you just become unkillable.
Yeah.
And it just gets really boring. Like, I just found myself doing side quests and for like days, literally.
Yeah.
And then I was like, actually, this isn't a game anymore.
Yeah. There's something I really don't like about Skyrim as well. It's the quick menus and the whole disorganization about everything. It's a nasty HUD. It's a nasty
really
inventory
is.
system.
It's optimized for consoles, and even then, it's bad optimization.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason the mod UI is probably the most popular UI.
Yeah.
Just because it fixes the one thing that basically is broken because for PC players is the UI for managing items.
And there was also another thing I disliked, because I had this awesome Khajiit character who did summoning because I wanted him to use ghost blades, so like he's an assassin, he'll kill people, and then because it's a ghost weapon it'll just disappear, which was awesome. But I wanted him to have...
Sorry, yeah.
I missed that, what
I
did you do?
could throw a grenade through the bars of a prison cell, and then realised I couldn't and had to run away.
I like how you solve all of your problems with grenades.
It's a recurring theme. But yeah, I wanted this Khajiit to be able to summon one sword, because you can block and you can bash him back, and it just looks cool.
Yeah.
Because I hate the animation for the dual stance.
Yeah,
but
I hate
if you
dual
put it on the quick thing and you select it, it automatically equips it to both hands.
Oh.
Which is annoying. So every time I go to the quick menu, do that, it would do that, and then I have to go to the quick menu again to deselect it on the left hand, and
Oh yeah.
that is so frustrating.
I
About
found
200 times.
I found the magic system in Skyrim really uninspired and boring.
Yep.
Compared to Oblivion.
yeah.
Like, Oblivion had an awesome magic system. Like, playing a mage was my favourite thing in Oblivion.
Yeah.
Playing a mage in Skyrim is the most boring thing.
Yep.
There are a lot of mods that make magic a bit more like Oblivion. Like they add a couple more versions of like telekinesis and stuff.
They just add like different variations of the same spells though, or at least most of the ones that I found. They don't add anything like interesting.
Yeah, I
I
spent
mean.
ages in Oblivion using console commands and everything to give me enough money and all that to make tons and tons of spells.
Because you can make your own spells. Yeah, I did that as
Yeah.
well. And you can make like a fucking glacier come out of your hands.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I made the perfect spell that whenever you cast it on a wolf, it would glitch and they would ragdoll like crazy. Like, there was this one wolf who was halfway across the map. I was standing on top of a tomb. I zapped him with it, and then his ragdoll just went, "Oh!" right in my face. So it's like all that way, and it's just like. And that is how you make a good game.
The thing I will say is like I play Skyrim with a shit ton of mods. Like I've watched a few like Let's Plays of Skyrim over the last like 3 years or however long it's been out. So I kind of know what the default game is about. So when I decided I wanted to play Skyrim, I immediately downloaded like 100 mods. No joke, like over 100 mods. Got them all working and then started playing. And so like my character isn't the Dragonborn, my character's just some adventurer.
Yeah,
and it's so much more fun.
Yeah, that's something another thing. I'm not a massive fan of Skyrim. It's another thing I didn't like about Skyrim, because no matter who you were, you could be a Khajiit, an Argonian, or like a really goofy character that just wants to be a merchant, but it's like, no, you're the Dragonborn.
Yeah.
We give you all this freedom, but you're the Dragonborn.
You're the Dragonborn. Everybody knows you. Everybody is like asking for your favors.
Yeah, you might be the most peaceful character in the world, but you can still blow the world up just by farting or whatever.
Yeah, so I like disabled all that shit because I was like, I just want to be some guy in the world of Skyrim and like get immersed.
Yeah,
which I did until I got bored.
That's why Oblivion's so
like,
good, because you're just a
All
prison.
the stuff later on, the dragon, like the dragon shouts become a crutch.
Yeah,
Like, I really
never
can't kill this
fucking
guy.
used them.
Oh, I'll just shout him off this platform.
Yeah,
Oh
kind
right,
of-
no, I never used them. Like, I think the mod that I had glitched slightly, so I could still get dragon shouts, but I wasn't the Dragonborn.
yeah.
Which is a
Just
little
fell
bit
into
weird.
a vase.
So I was just like, I just didn't use them. Like I used them once or twice, and I was like, this is actually really boring and
Yeah.
like not that useful.
Yeah,
Especially because like the quick draw system wasn't working, so I had to go into my inventory to get like change weapons or change spells or anything. So using anything other than bow and arrow or sword and shield was like too time consuming.
Yeah. I just replaced on the button on the 360 that does the shout, so I just made it my Khajiit's see in the dark thing.
Yeah.
So much more useful.
Sorry, we were talking about.
Topics.
Yeah, we just realised that Brian hates lots of games.
Yeah.
no, I hate
we-
lots of modern games.
We were talking
I
about
love loads of old games.
early access.
Yeah.
I had something to say about early access. But back to Planetary Annihilation. The thing that the guys have started doing, I forget what they're called, Obsidian Entertainment.
Yeah.
They've put early access stuff on Steam, which basically gives you access to the beta for less than what the beta costed originally on the Kickstarter. Which is kind of frustrating.
Yeah, it's like
Because it's like, I paid for this piece of shit, but,
Wait, didn't you get it free with Kickstarter?
well, sort of. You pay £50 and they give you beta access.
Was that the minimum?
I got it with the soundtrack.
but
I think beta access on its own was like £40, and then
£40 of beta access.
yeah, and then I think alpha access was £90. Kind of ridiculous. And,
Pay £90.
but
to play
the thing
a
is,
broken
right?
game.
It's unplayable. Like it's completely broken. I can't get that game to launch. Like I have the beta. I've got it fully patched. I've got it like everything the way it should be. Like I updated all my drivers. I did everything they said that you should do to get it to work, and it doesn't fucking work. Like it just crashes as soon as I put it. As soon as I try and launch like I can get into the main menu, I can set up a game. As soon as I press play, it just crashes. And I was annoyed. I was like, well, shit. So I said, well, first of all, I contacted him. I was like, can I have my money back? Because this doesn't, like, I can't even be a useful beta tester to you guys because I can't get this game to work.
Yeah.
And then they were like, we can't refund people that got that kickstarted us because we've already spent that money, basically. And I was like,
Yeah.
I guess that's fair enough. But if the game comes out, whenever it comes out, and I still get the same problem, I'm going to be really fucking mad.
Yep.
Because I basically paid £50 for a soundtrack.
Yeah.
And the morale support.
And according to the Kickstarter video, it's not even a good soundtrack anyway.
Well, I haven't heard any of the soundtrack. Like, the only thing I've heard is the one song that they made for the Kickstarter.
Have you been listening to your £50 worth of music?
No, I haven't.
That's like the entitled thing about paying to test something is, in this case 10 years ago, they would be paying you to test the game.
Yeah.
They'd be calling people in-house to test it, but now you're paying them to test their game, and because you've paid them, you feel entitled to something.
I think it's a
And it's
justified
just
sense of entitlement, though.
Yeah, it's justified,
but it's
because it's
also,
like I'm like, yeah, I'm paying to play this potentially broken game, but like, I think the thing that annoys me is, like, I can't even be a useful beta tester because the beta that they've released is unplayable.
Well, technically,
it's like-
you're testing it out because it doesn't work at all, and you can be like, yeah. That's my job done.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm the only person with the problem because everybody else can play it like no problem.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what the problem with my computer is. Whether it's just, like, bad optimization on their end or something on my computer that, like, is prohibiting it from working or something, or, like, I don't know. I meet all the system requirements, but maybe, like, some weird shit with my motherboard or something. I don't know. There's a whole host of things that could be the issue. So I've decided I'm gonna wait till it releases, until they say, oh yeah, it's ready for release, even if it might not be, before I get properly mad about this.
But yeah, that's just early access for you.
Yeah, but
It's not great.
I think Total Biscuit brought it up recently, something about, like, once they have the money, they have an obligation to release something, but they don't have an obligation for that thing that they release to be, like, quality.
Yeah.
So
You could argue that most of their sales have come from the Kickstarter.
yeah,
Like, most of the expected sales. Like, if you do a jab in the dark, it might as well be 60-70% of that overall sales will come in that first few days.
yeah. I just think that they've released, like, the beta too soon. Like, compared, like I said before, compared to Project Infinity, they're not even in alpha yet. They're not even in pre-alpha, and the Planetary Annihilation is, like, getting ready for release, and the quality of the game, or the percentage doneness of the game, like, feels about the same for both games.
And you know, like, the second they quote-unquote release the game, they're still going to be patching it and fixing all the
Yeah.
things that are still broken
Yeah.
about the game.
It's
So there's a question of when they actually ever release it.
yeah, there's a new breed of games that are basically forever beta now.
Like most EA games.
Yeah, most AAA games, but even like
Even
some
GTA 5
indie
at some
games are
extent.
using, like, the forever beta thing as a selling point.
The GTA 5 did it right because they said from out the box you're not going to get online
Yeah.
because we're not done yet.
And my
But
God, when
some
online
games-
came out,
Yeah, played it. Remember that? Bald transvestite with earmuffs. That was great. That was my
I just
character.
remember when me and you were trying online, we were on TeamSpeak, and I was just like, what the hell's going on? Why is it not working? And then Will just came in, and he was like, what are you guys playing? And we're like, GTA 5 online.
And I was like, wow, it sounds great.
Yeah. But yeah.
Wait. In Dishonored, did you just poison that guy, then let the other guy live, and then proceed to shoot the guy as he ran out?
I specifically sleep darted him.
Oh dear.
So
Benevolent assassin.
So I poisoned one guy, then put the other guy to sleep.
Oh, I poisoned that one guy, and then as the other guy was being surrounded, I jumped down and attacked all the other guards, and he just ran off.
Oh, right. No, he
And
was.
he told me he was safe.
He tried to attack me, so I was like, "Okay, you're going to sleep."
Did he?
Yeah.
No,
Gone to
he just,
sleep.
he just ran off and ignored me.
No.
That was weird.
He was like, because I think it was because I poisoned the guy in red and then also shot him. And then he saw me shoot him.
At the ninth booty.
Because the guy in red was like, "Oh, you need to burn the black book," and I was like, "Oh shit! Don't let him hear about the black book. Kill him."
Let me just finish the job.
yeah.
What was your topic, Mister?
My topic or
Yeah.
Dave's topic?
Your topic.
My topic was with the. Have you guys heard of Ride to Hell Retribution?
No.
Oh yes.
It's basically been at the top of everybody's worst games of 2013 list.
What's it called?
Ride to Hell Retribution. It's on
Have a
Steam.
look-see.
It looks like an early Xbox 360 game, and plays like shit, and just like everything is broken in it.
Tactical
It's-
biker action. Whoa.
It's a fucking awful
Bike
game.
to hell.
If day one Gary's Incident hadn't already come out, it would be the sole survivor of bad games. I mean, Gary's Incident is like a student game gone wrong bad.
Gary's
but
Incident.
This is just
God, that's loud.
a bad game trying to be a AAA game, trying to look cool and putting so much stuff in and doing it all wrong at the same time.
Characters. Let's have a look. I clicked on characters and nothing. Oh,
It's kind of like the Room of video
Jake
games.
Conway. Hi, Denny. Meet our hero, trained soldier and all-round badass. How much ass could a biker kick if a biker kicked some ass? That's a good question.
I just love the sudden deadness in your voice as you read that.
Oh God.
It is a classically terrible game, basically.
The characters look absolute crap. And oh wait, what's this guy called? Greasy Steve, unshaven, unkempt, and unruly. This slippery weasel of a man respects only one thing: speed.
The funny thing is, he's actually talking about the developers, not the characters in the game.
These are just self-portraits.
Yeah, so my topic was
King
with the
Dick.
release of
How much of this game should we play right now?
with the release of Ride to Hell Retribution, dubbed probably the worst game of 2013. Do you think that some developers do this on
Should be
purpose?
crucified.
Are there developers who realize that they're making a terrible game and then specifically go ahead, carry on making it terrible because they know that if it's bad enough, people will still buy it because everybody's talking about how terrible it is?
I think they only really consciously do that when it's bad but done well, like Disaster Day of Crisis. Because that was a kind of stupid game, kind of badly done, and it's a pretty cool game. Because you're like, oh wow, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's like... It's bad because it's annoying bad.
Yeah.
Like, it literally does everything wrong that it could have done wrong. And it, like, the way Will's saying, it almost like, it feels like they did it on purpose.
Yeah, that's my
which I
question.
kind of
is
understand.
Because Day of Disaster, like, you can see that some effort was put into it. And the thing that makes it really great is the voice actors, like, half taking the piss whilst they're voicing all the characters.
Let me just say, the sound when he jumps is beautiful.
So, like Day of Disaster Crisis, or whatever it's called, is like, it's a weird example because it's one of those good bad games, but I think they were trying to make a good game.
Yeah.
Whereas my question with games like Right to Hell Retribution is, were the developers trying to make a bad game specifically to draw this attention to it for because I think Yahtzee, if you guys know who Yahtzee is, Yahtzee Croshaw, one of the semi-famous.
The guy from the town I went to uni, and he said in one of his videos how crap a town it is.
What's this show called? Zero Punctuation. Yeah, he said in his Zero Punctuation on it that it is such a terrible game that everybody should buy it just to see how terrible.
All right.
it is.
Besides the really crappy character bios, what's so bad about it? Because I'm just looking through trailers and I can't see any gameplay.
It's one of those games that you need to play.
Yeah.
Or at least watch somebody play. I've been watching Game Grumps play it.
I didn't mind the gameplay. I've seen games like that, but it was just the horrible way the characters are, the way the game portrays women in general.
The way I think the controls are pretty bad. It plays
for a game about bikes.
Yeah.
The bike controls are just terrible because you're kind of on a Scalextrics track.
It's got really bad physics. You can you get attacked by gangs of bikers whilst you're traveling between missions, and you can just sort of bump your wheel against them and they'll go flying into orbit. And other stuff you can shoot or punch people off their bikes, and the bikes will roll into the side of the road, explode, but then the bikes will carry on moving and be completely untouched. So there'll just be this huge explosion, and then the bike will carry on fine. And the combat system is really bad. All the voice acting is terrible. All of the character models look like they were made out of clay or something.
Yeah.
In a bad way, not claymation or whatever. Especially facial hair. For a game with a lot of characters with facial hair, you'd think that they'd model it a little bit better. It looks like somebody sort of smeared a load of clay on somebody's face. There's a whole host of problems with that game, and it's hilariously bad. But it just kind of interests me. We will probably see a title of similar awfulness in the next year of gaming.
Well,
and
I guess
my
it's
question is it intentional?
I guess, with movies, you get really stupid, deliberately crap movies that are just crap because they tried too hard, Sharknado, is it?
Yeah, Sharknado.
Yeah. So this game could be a Sharknado.
I don't think so.
It does, from the gameplay, it does look like they tried.
Sharknado, think of a perfect world if Sharknado was a AAA movie, a kind of Pacific Rim blockbuster movie. It's hard to think of that, but if you think Rockstar made this game, you can actually imagine quite
where
a good game.
Sharknado is the top-selling film in the box office.
And
just
human IQ
Sharknado
is
with
down
the
to
classic,
0.
It's just the trailer with the it has cuts to people looking and turning around when it goes and then one of those people's is a shark.
like Inception style.
Yeah, every single trailer ever.
Oh yeah, since Inception. Yeah, the way that Pacific Rim did it, their trailer. Yeah, I know.
But yeah, like I said, if Rockstar did the game, you could probably imagine it being quite a cool game.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
Like,
better than what it is, at least.
yeah, if the motorbike's controlled like GTA 5 and the gun and combat was like GTA, it would actually be quite a good game, wouldn't it?
It's kind of like it's touching an area that other games like Road Rash have touched and done successfully. But
Yeah, but hasn't been touched since.
yeah, but I don't know.
Really?
People could make a good thing out of that concept, but
Yeah, but it's just a bad studio.
Yeah, it's not a bad concept. It's the way that it was executed.
Yeah, the execution of the game is just. There's a reason I called it a train wreck, is because it's not something I want to try. It's just something you want to watch and laugh
Yeah.
at, because it's uncontrollable. It's just everything's going wrong, and you're just sitting there like, oh, so this is going to happen.
have you
Yeah,
seen that?
stuff like the textures not loading in before the cutscene starts.
Yeah, like the pop in, like the bad voice acting, the bad graphics, the sex scenes with all the clothes on.
That's hot.
Yeah, the
That happen like back to back whenever you meet women.
oh yeah,
the only
it's
times
like
you meet women is to have sex
you
with
saved a random woman from being mugged / potentially raped,
So
and
you
so
get to-
and so she rewards you with sex.
Sweet.
them. Like immediately. Like there's,
It's
there's
like-
nothing
it's
like
like, thanks,
getting
you
to
saved
know
me.
character. They just take you to their home.
Let's go behind that bush and
Like,
do something.
I think the best one that I've seen so far is like a story one where you meet this trucker girl / engineer girl, and she's like, "Can you go like beat up my husband because he's being an asshole?"
Oh, yeah.
And so you go and do that. You beat up her husband and all his friends like in front of her.
Wow.
And then like she's like, and then you go into their house and have sex.
It sounds like whoever came up with the concept of it, it's just his wet dream. It's like, I'm having real trouble imagining this. I just want somebody to make it for me.
I think Yahtzee described it as like somebody who's been locked in a room with loads of like 80s action films for too long that then tried to make a game.
It kind of, I forget what the film was called. It was something, God, the theme tune was so good, but it was a really bad 80s film that it looked like it was another deliberately bad film where they have cancer-infected rats that sneak through people's toilets. And that's something that villains use. And then there's this guy called Shades who throws a frisbee with a razor thing on it. And then all of the women are just like really scantily clad, and there's tons of awkward sex scenes. God, I've got to remember the name of that now. Because the theme tune, god damn.
I think a better example of another like possibly intentionally bad game is Deadly Premonitions. If you guys have
Yeah.
heard that
I've heard the name of it.
or like seen it.
That's a game that's become successful.
Yeah.
It's like it went from being a bad game to a cult game.
Yeah, it's a fucking awful game, but it's got this following pretty much because it's so bad. Like,
And that like following has produced PC ports for it
yeah.
and a
it's
sequel.
a
I
survival
think.
horror.
There's a second game.
No.
No, it's not survival horror.
Deadly
It says
Premonition,
it
known
is.
as Red Seed's profile.
It like there's hilarious stuff
Holding the
in that
Guinness
game,
World
like-
Record for most critically polarizing survival horror game.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Most people like it's awful or it's the best thing
It's
ever.
seen as a primary example of games as art. Are you
I
sure?
think
it
it's
is.
bad?
Destructoid gave it like a perfect score. And I don't know if that was an
gotta
ironic
play
review
this.
or the fact that they honestly really enjoyed
So
the game.
what's
even
bad
though
about
it? Was bad.
it? I'm genuinely interested.
Okay, so it came out for like the mid to late life of the Xbox 360 and
Yeah.
PS3, and it looks like early PS2 graphics.
That's not a major deal to me because Way of the
well,
Samurai 3 is all.
Yeah, but like that was like the initial. Oh God, this is interesting.
Yeah.
especially since now the PC port or the director's cut or whatever it's called has like re-rendered scenes in better definition, but not all of them. So it'll cut between like 480 and 720p constantly. And then there's stuff like the terrible, like the hilariously bad sound design. Like right at the start, you almost run over a squirrel in a cutscene, and it makes the sound of a chimpanzee.
Well, maybe that's
like
some
unironically
sort of psychological aspect to it.
The whole game is like, the whole game is based on Twin Peaks. If you've seen Twin Peaks,
I've been meaning to, but
or at least heard of it. I've been meaning to watch it. Like the director or developer like fucking loves Twin Peaks, he wanted to make a Twin Peaks game, but he couldn't get the license, so just made one anyway and called it Deadly Premonitions. It's got fucking awful voice acting. It's got like weird character interactions and just like horrible gameplay segments. Like there's a part of the game, like not even an hour in, where you literally have to run down an empty motorway for 10 minutes straight.
Well, there were scenes in Silent Hill. In Silent Hill 2, there's a part where you go through a labyrinth, you confront Pyramid Head. I think this is just before, but there's a part where you have to get on a boat. I have a save file on that point because I have trouble getting the boat from one side to the other because you can't see shit, you can't steer shit, but it's done for atmosphere, it's done to kind of get you immersed and get you freaked out.
Yeah.
I don't think driving down a motorway really gets you freaked out.
She's on foot though. I imagine you probably can't see shit at all.
No, you're not driving down a motorway, you're running down it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
and there's a stamina system in the game, so you can only run for about 30 seconds, and then you have to stop and pause for breath, and then run again.
Is there anything behind her? Is there any?
No, there's nothing else in this. You just have to run to an objective on a bridge like 3 miles away.
I don't know. I feel like I have to play it. I have to play it before I can.
You either
judge
have to play it or watch somebody play it. But it's another one of those like, was this intentionally bad or was this a good game at one point and then they were just like fuck it.
I have to think that you can't make a game thinking it's intentionally bad because like people are gonna know, and what usually happens is the opposite. They make a game they think is gonna be good. It gets its cult following, and they kind of go with it. I mean, like,
okay,
if you're really proud of your game, you would do your best to try and like get rid of all the reviews or like shy away from all the reviews that are saying this game is laughably bad.
Plus, you'd have to
but
be
like one of the quotes within Deadly Premonition on Steam is ... a uniquely unforgettable experience. Like someone's unsure as they're saying it.
I don't know.
I guess my question or topic is like, I mean, yeah, like I don't think that Deadly Premonitions or Ride to Hell Retribution were intentionally bad, but I guess my question is, do you think in the next year or so we'll see developers making intentionally bad games just because they'll get attention even if it's negative attention?
I can imagine indie developers through the simplicity of modern day. Well, how easy it is to be able to make and publish a game now. It's just going to happen anyway.
I think there's a lot of games out there that I've never played and are probably horrible. But I think it's because they're trying to be big games by probably being 3D. That they're trying to be like masquerade almost that these are big games when in theory they're horribly written, badly produced games. So I don't think people would do it on purpose. That would just be incredibly risky financially.
So.
Well, yeah. But
Well-
like any indie can make a bad
Yeah.
game and it won't get any exposure because the whole point is it's not trying to be.
Duke Nukem
I
Forever.
guess I mean,
That wasn't intentionally bad, but it's one of the worst games I've seen.
Yeah, that game.
I mean, like-
it tried its best to be funny by ripping
Yeah.
off other old
That's the only way that they
2003
would
movies, but
do it, if they did genuinely, intentionally do it.
what's it called? Right to Hell Retribution and Deadly Premonitions to a lesser extent, like, they have become renowned and, like, by definition of successful, if your definition is has it sold, then they are successful titles, even if they're, like, famous for being terrible titles. So, like, it just strikes me as something that a publisher might try and pull off. Like, we've seen how much attention, like, a terrible game like Right to Hell Retribution gets. So make a terrible game and, like, give it loads of attention. Like,
I think again it would be far too risky financially, and whoever's publishing it to actually do that. It has to just happen.
yeah.
And like those two just got a luck of the draw, really. They made a bad game and it just happened to be hilariously popular. And they'll probably make another bad game out of it, or maybe even improve.
Yeah, I think
hopefully,
that's
but
a resounding no.
I don't think you can do it on purpose.
Yeah. I guess that's a follow-up question then. Do you think that the developers of Right Hell Retribution, after being successful from making a terrible game, will make another terrible game and try and make Lightning Strike twice?
I don't think they're going to be able to afford
No,
it.
that would be stupid. that would like solidify them as terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
If someone goes
That
in
would-
a job interview
it's-
and they're like, yeah, I worked on this game, and you'd be like, piss off.
it's exactly the same as having a comedian tell a corny joke and a bunch of people laughing, and then doing the same night with the same people and saying the same joke and expecting them to laugh.
Get pretty stale.
Yeah.
So we've got about 10 minutes left. Did you have a topic for us, DJ?
I was going to talk about Elder Scrolls Online.
Scrolls
um,
Online.
It was a beta, but honestly,
Oh yeah, you were in the beta, weren't you? Yeah.
yeah.
The chosen few.
Was it terrible?
I did not like it, and I'll tell you why.
Go on.
Like we've talked about with Neverwinter, I think combat honestly makes an MMO for me. Like visuals, like community and stuff, and the map, but like the main thing you're going to be doing hours is grinding, which means the combat.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
And the combat in that is kind of like if someone modded a nice looking Morrowind.
yeah, so
Like, it has that horrible static wavy animation.
Oh, yeah, I
That-
know what you mean.
Doesn't feel like you're hitting anyone,
Yeah.
but then someone's slightly bending back with blood effect.
yeah,
as you
so
hit
it
them.
feels more like the animation is literally just filler rather than the animation feeling
Yeah.
like part of the attack.
It feels like I'm pressing a button and I'm inputting damage into them,
Yeah.
and then they're moving backwards. It felt really ugh, and every time I
Throwing
made
negative
a-
numbers at them rather than
First of
hitting them
all,
with a
I'll
sword.
talk about what I made. I made a my normal guy from Skyrim. I remade him in this because I thought, well, I might as well just do it because
Yeah.
I already know his name and stuff. So I input him in. He was a Nord with a big brown beard and like tied back hair, and he was a warrior. And I entered the game, and I noticed I was in Skyrim, filled with Nords with brown beards and tied back hair and warriors. And I was like, okay, I will make a female blonde Nord. And I came back in and I felt a bit more unique. But that also added to the thing
Did you
of
keep the same name?
I'm playing Billy Brutus. And I kind of, that was the first thing that hit me was I'm playing an Elder Scrolls game thinking like an Elder Scrolls game, thinking I'm going to have this unique character and I have to share this with other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And I instantly went, ugh. And I'll get back to that in a bit, but and I started doing the combat, and the combat just was very loose, and you're throwing your weapons around, and there's very little impact. They kind of just get hit, and
There's no feedback.
sometimes I'd hit them and they'd go backwards, and I'd look at their health bar and it was nothing. Then I'd go for a swing again, and before I started to swing, their health bar went down.
Oh.
And it wasn't a connection thing, the whole thing was running fine, but it was just odd. Everything felt laggish and
Floaty.
sluggish.
There's something you said earlier
Yeah.
about like the lore and everything. Because for me, with Neverwinter, having played Baldur's Gate 2, and the Neverwinter Nights game, it is actually kind of cool when you go into a game and there's a bit of the lore that you already know, like the races, the locations, like the sword codes and
Yeah.
everything. So I think a lot of people would take the approach that I took to Neverwinter to Skyrim. They'd enjoy the lore, they'd enjoy the characters and things.
Well, hang on. Is it just Skyrim Online?
No, it's everything. It's Cyrodiil, it's
Tamriel.
So if someone's played
it's the
Daggerfall,
whole of...
they'd love it.
yeah,
They'd be like, oh wow, this old game that
but
that I thought nobody cared about. Now it's part of this online universe.
yeah.
Okay, that's
but
cool.
The thing
so
is,
we can like
the game
finally go
itself,
to the Black Marsh and stuff.
the game itself just appears to be a standard, bog standard MMO with the lore of Elder Scrolls kind of slapped over
So it
it.
rides that too much.
And so that was the whole point. Was if this was an Elder Scrolls game, I wouldn't be anywhere near this game.
Sorry, I just threw a whale bomb at like a wall that was 2 feet away from me by accident.
Yeah, like if this was an Elder Scrolls game, I wouldn't be anywhere near this game.
Yeah.
Like these are the kind of MMOs I'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah, no thanks. But because it was an Elder Scrolls game, I was like, well, this is intriguing. But it ended up being, I wanted to play it like an Elder Scrolls game, and I didn't like it because it was an MMO.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's
so, like, the first-
that's what I like always was suspicious of when I heard about Elder Scrolls Online. I was like, well, how is this gonna work? Because it's like, I can imagine playing an Elder Scrolls game with a couple of your friends being really fun, but playing with like 1,000 like other, you are the hero that will save the world,
And not to mention,
Because-
would
That's-
just be really fucking boring.
if you're kind of walking through the wilderness, experiencing this really awesome, unique place, and then someone comes along with like 420 Blaze It swag, the massive Nord, you're just like, wow, that's
Yeah,
really
there's no like, because we've all played games like Skyrim. We all have our own sense of our own universe, so we know our characters, we know what they've done, and we kind of think of that as canon.
Yeah, I have a headcanon for Elder Scrolls.
So I've kind of got my own headcanon universe of me and my friends' characters when we were at university, like Chairman Meow, the cat mage, archmage, which sounds stupid with all my realistic characters, but Chairman Meow is the archmage because he was the first one to be archmage, and he was just a cat that just was terrified of fighting and only used summons
This is where I
because he
trapped
didn't know how to
myself
play the game.
in a room, and I had to jump out the window.
cool, fantastic heroes.
And what was I? And like what you said about like finding people with weird usernames, you'd explore Skyrim, and there'd be this lush world, and you'd get to a sort of dungeon, and you'd be like, "Oh, I discovered a dungeon," and there'd be like 15 people outside it dancing. And trying to trade and stuff. It was like, oh, I just want an adventure.
Like,
and
standing in town market, being like, "I got boots for sale. You guys want
yeah,
boots?"
just like arrow, want to trade boots, arrow.
DPS 200.
And the whole thing
Card the
kind of.
player 1345.
So that's why I didn't really enjoy it. It ended up being me wanting to play a new Elder Scrolls game, trying to play it like it was a solo Elder Scrolls
If
game.
they just
then having
made
to
one co-op.
realize it's an MMO.
Just make
Instead
a
of
co-op
instead of making
Elder
an MMO,
Scrolls game.
just make one
That's all
co-op.
I wanted.
Yeah,
It's just,
that's all I want.
Anybody bloody wants.
and the thing is, it's the game itself is trying to be Skyrim so much. It's got the same sort of trying to be the same combat system, but stuck in an MMO, a horrible, strict, clunky MMO format with all these abilities. And like one of the first warrior abilities you can get is a chain pull ability. Do you know how annoying it is to farm things when anyone can pull it away from you at any point?
Yeah.
So you're trying to like kill things, and any warrior on the map can pull it away from you from quite a distance. It's absolutely impossible to last hit anything.
That sounds like the item grab spell from RuneScape, where like you do this is like from fucking 10 years ago when I used to play RuneScape. You do a raid, and there'd be like 5 wizards on the outskirts of the raid that would steal all the loot as soon as you killed the boss.
I'd be one of
because
those
they
wizards.
just cast the spell and grab all the loot instantly, and you'd just be like, fucking hell.
One thing that I noticed when I went to my mate's house and he was playing it, they've got a lot of really big names doing the voices. Because
For Skyrim,
Yeah, but like
or for
Elder Scrolls
Elder
Online.
Scrolls.
Because they had John
like-
Cleese as like the tutorial
Really?
guy. Yeah.
he's like a crazy old man at the start
You're like,
inside
wait,
like this weird.
that's John Cleese.
prison
What's he
area.
doing in an MMO?
Well, like it's still got the production values. It's still a really good-looking game, and all the voice acting and the music is fantastic.
It's got Bethesda behind it.
Yeah, it's got the Bethesda polish, but it's just combining the two together and expecting it to be the Elder Scrolls that you played when you're solo is just, it's kind of hard, and it gives you kind of a reality shock of all this horrible MMO nonsense combined with the game you
I think
expect.
there's a classic case of developers making the game that everybody says that they want, and then they get it and they realize they didn't actually want it.
Yeah. Like, I would absolutely love co-op Skyrim. Just add another player and we can run around and do quests.
Yeah, like GTA or whatever, but in Skyrim.
Yeah, I would love
GTA
that. But
controls
as
in
soon as you just add a shit ton of people,
Well, no, like
the mystique goes.
like GTA's or Saints Row's multiplayer, because it's a sandbox, right? Like Skyrim, all these Elder Scrolls games, they're basically they're
basically a
sandbox
scam.
RPGs.
You've been playing a scam.
Scam box.
They're sandbox RPGs, basically. So like just do that, but with multiplayer.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, like separate servers or whatever.
Guys, I think we're running out of time.
We're coming towards the end. We can talk on a little bit longer if you want to.
For 25 seconds, we're running out of time,
I'm
Will.
done with
I've got
berating
some
Elder
extra
Scrolls.
footage that I could stitch in if you guys want to carry on talking about this.
It's just going to be Will trying to do the worm on his floor.
Well, you know what
No,
I think.
I think I like. I can't remember what I do, but
I'm going to sign off very quickly in 5 seconds. Thank you for listening to the Will and Friends show. Forget what it's actually called. Thank you. And that's the end. That's the least time I don't.
Will you get a new tank from upstairs, please, while I hold this in place? Be careful. The oil's unstable. When it explodes, there is a terrible mess. Perfect. Now plug it in.